In Ad Thalassium 6, St. Maximus the Confessor writes regarding baptism and its two kinds, one external, the other internal, as follows, quote, "The manner of birth from God is twofold. The one bestows the grace of adoption, which is entirely present in potency in those who are born of God. The other introduces wholly by active exertion, that is, by active efforts, that grace which deliberately reorients the entire free choice of the one being born of God toward the God who gives it birth." Unquote. These words St. Maximus writes in response to the question regarding free will and sin. It's widely known among religious types that Maximus postulated two wills, analogous to his two baptisms here, namely a natural and a gnomic will. But this distinction can't eradicate the problem of the fundamentally paradoxical relationship between God's omniscient and providential foreknowledge on the one hand, and humanity's supposedly independent and autonomous free will on the other. In fact, the very appellation of the divine omnipotence would seem to outright deny any such independence of his creatures. In this section, Ad Thalassium 6, it was questioned to St. Maximus of what use baptism could be if the person still sins after being born again and cleansed of the stain of Adam's transgression. Maximus responds by saying that, in effect, there are actually two baptisms. The first is that which every Christian undergoes physically, being immersed or sprinkled in holy water. But the second baptism refers to something altogether different. We can find allusions to this mysterious second baptism throughout the history of the Church, even as recently as the 20th century among esoteric writers such as Boris Moraviev. A spiritual baptism, a baptism of fire, cryptically alluded to in the gospel narratives themselves, a spiritual baptism which ontologically reorients the entire being towards a greater understanding of reality and the nature of God. However, this baptism was not an immersion in everyday water such as the merely external sacrament offers, but rather into a mysterious, fiery, spiritualized water. The symbol of these mystical waters was later transfused into the Grail mythos, while such allusions to this ethereal substance can also be found even in biblical times. For example, in 3rd Esdras it's written, quote, "And on the next day an angelic voice called unto me, saying, Ezra, open your mouth and drink what I give you to drink. So I opened my mouth, and a full cup was offered to me. It was full of something like water, but its color was like fire. I took it and drank, and when I had drunk it, my heart poured forth understanding, and wisdom increased in my breast, and my spirit regained its memory." Unquote. And likewise here Maximus writes of these mysterious waters, quote, "But were we to prepare our will with knowledge to receive the operation of this mysterious water, then we would, through our practical life, cleanse our conscience, and the life-giving Spirit would bring about a realization of the unchanging perfection of the good in us, that is to say, of the unceasing presence and union with God, acquired through knowledge, attained by this direct experience." Unquote. It's a remarkable statement that we can be cleansed of sin not necessarily through moral or pious virtue, but through knowledge and direct experience. The realization of the unchanging perfection of the good in us, quote unquote, necessarily implies its constancy throughout all of life's actions and decisions, whether those be outwardly sinful or otherwise. What can free will even mean after such a discovery? If God is present in each and every act of a free will, how would such a discovery cleanse our conscience, quote unquote, unless this discovery also negated all significations of the question regarding free will? It's as if we have free will to deny our own free will to be what we were always going to be from all of eternity. But don't take my word for it. Maximus himself writes, quote, "Whoever has participated in this deification through direct cognizant experience is incapable of reverting from right discernment once he has achieved this. It's like the eye which, once it's looked upon the sun, cannot mistake it for the moon or for any of the other stars. With those who have undergone this second mode of birth, the Holy Spirit takes the whole of their free choice and translates it completely, from earth to heaven, from profane to spiritual, such that, through this true knowledge acquired by exertion, the individual mind is transfigured with the holy and blessed light rays of God, so that we may even say that he becomes a God insofar as he experiences that which God does not merely experience, but is by his very essence. With those undergoing this second mode of baptism, forever thereafter their free choice clearly becomes sinless in virtue and knowledge, nor are they able to negate that which they have actively discerned through this experience." Unquote. I'm reminded of Homer. In the Iliad, the problem of evil and of free will is addressed in less religious terms. By every metric, in the story, the character of Hector is the good, noble man of honor, a family man who by all means should be the central character of the story, while Achilles is much more like a bloodthirsty, amoral brute. Yet it's Achilles that triumphs over Hector, after the gods themselves make a shield for him. And this shield is the quintessential symbol of the whole thing. The shield bears depictions of all the scenes one might expect to encounter from the Bronze Age Mediterranean. Scenes of both triumph and tragedy, hope and despair, heroism and debauchery. All of these scenes are depicted on the shield, as the shield itself is a sort of golden, divine emblem, and emblem of the divinity of everything, shaped much like the sun that St. Maximus describes. Maximus continues, quote, "Rather, one and the same principle shall be observable throughout the universe, in order that the God and Trinity might be through all and in all things, contemplated as the whole reality, proportionate in each individual creature, and in the universe altogether, just as the soul naturally indwells both the whole of the body and each individual part, without diminishing itself."